Orlando Scandrick. We're going viral. Deshaun Watson put on a show last night. No one had a better seat than Russell Westbrook.
I know it's a forward lateral, though. Is that where you let it go?
Let her tell us what's going on.
Brody and teammate P.J. Tucker spent their off day as Texans honorary team captains. How about that? Even getting some quality time with Deshaun before the game. I like that little cross-sport camaraderie.
Russ, since he's gotten to Houston, if you watch the World Series, he and Harden had front row seats for every home game of the World Series. Now he's going to the football games. He's got his personal protector, P.J. Tucker, going out with him, which is smart.
Win the
good
crowd
by him. Absolutely. That's one of the biggest wins that franchise has ever had.
Russ actually has some pro teams now that he can go visit.
Oh, yeah, and OKC is all by himself.
Yep,
That's a good point, Jen. I didn't even think about that.
Right?
His whole pro career, he's been in a one-team city.
Tucker make a good tight end, too, man.
No.
He's gritty.
No.
He's grimy, athletic.
6'4", bulky. Well, you can't play.
210, no.
Well, you have to bulk
Basketball
up a little bit.
Stand in the corner.
Hey, drink some Ensure, man. Be right there.
Sure, like
All right, Orlando, let's talk about one of your former teams, the Dallas Cowboys. New reports say that the Cowboys are, quote, done with Jason Garrett.
Oh, man.
And smitten with Oklahoma head coach Lincoln Riley. Orlando, you spent 9 years in Dallas. You believe the head coach is the Cowboys' biggest issue?
No, no. But it falls on his shoulders because he's the captain of the team. He's the leader of the team. He's going to take it. But I just think they're inconsistent. I mean, they go through these stretches where they look like, oh, my gosh, here come the Cowboys. They really going to do it this year. Then they go through these stretches when they look like the Jets.
Whoa, that hurts.
Oh.
What happened?
Or the Giants.
Okay, that's better.
So why, though?
I mean, it's just, I think, handling success. I mean, that's the hardest thing to do in life. In the National Football League, you must learn how to handle success.
But what's the success, though? He's been there for 10 years. They've won one playoff game.
Let's just go one season at a time.
Okay.
I think that at times in this season, they look great. You know, they get off to a 3-0 start, and they got the #1 offense in the league. They got the #5 defense in the league, and you think, like, okay, Dallas is really going to do it this year. Then they face a little adversity, have a couple of injuries, and then here we are. Now they're from 3-3 to what are they?
But they face teams that can punch back, and they haven't beat a team with a winning record.
Everybody gets paid in this league, so, I mean,
but
any given Sunday.
But you have to, if we agree that this is, to me, the best roster, top to bottom, in football.
Dallas?
If not, I think top to bottom, they have a great offensive line, a great defensive line. They have a lockdown corner. They have everything that you would want. I think the safety position leaves something to be desired, but they have the best running back. They have a more than adequate quarterback. They have a #1 receiver in Cooper, Gallup. They got they got everything that you would think. They got
But I just think that you got to perform. You got to be able to perform on a week in and week out basis. I think that as good as Zeke's been this season, and I don't know his stats, but I would argue that he's in I would argue that he's in the top 5 in rushing.
Right outside, but yeah, right there.
Okay, he's in top 6, top 7. The quarterback is playing phenomenal, but I just think at times, they don't play well on defense. They don't create enough turnovers. They don't run the ball well at times, and they face these teams that are. When you play in Dallas, and me playing in Dallas is. Everybody feels like you feel. Like, why do they think they so good? They ain't won anything, so you're getting everybody's best shot.
But what you're describing to me is they face teams that are better coached.
Right.
Like, if the Cowboys' problems aren't coaching, then coaching is meaningless.
I mean, Garrett hasn't called a single play this year, so everybody's calling for his head. They fired Linehan. Then they get a new offensive coordinator.
Kellen Moore.
Now they're #1. Marinelli takes a step to the side. They get Chris Richard. They're phenomenal. So
and they're 6-6.
So I don't know how you blame that on Garrett.
Because it's situational football. It's how well you do in close games. It's those tiny decisions that the Ravens are showing week in, week out.
His fault that punts are getting blocked?
What? Well, you know what?
Ultimately, it goes on his permanent
That's why I said that he ultimately takes it because he's the leader of the team. But, I mean, Jerry has put these people in place, just like Jerry put Jason in place when Wade was a coach. He's put Kellen Moore in place. He okayed that. He put Chris Richard there. So it's kind of when you got an owner and a general manager that has the final say on everything. I mean, I'm hard pressed to blame it on.
Yeah, Jason. But the problem with to me, the problem with that is the issue with the Cowboys is not that they don't have enough good players. The issue with the Cowboys is not the Giants.
Right.
Which is, listen, Shermer's probably going to take the fall, and Shermer might be a bad coach, but that is a terrible roster. That team has been put together with I don't know what in mind. The Cowboys, maybe you just agree, the most talented roster in football. They are a very talented roster.
Absolutely.
They are more talented than their record.
But no doubt about it. But I think that everybody gets caught up, and you look at the price tag of these players, and then when you look at the price tag and you say, well, we got the top paid running back.
No, I'm looking at the accolades. I'm looking at DeMarcus Lawrence last year.
I mean,
was
but we've always had a lot of Pro Bowlers and a lot of people on the team.
Right, but they don't have the wins. That's what I'm saying. If you have all the talent and you got, it's not the players that's a problem. It has to be the coaching. And even though that Jason Garrett isn't a coordinator, he's not calling plays. It's his job to oversee and make sure that.
Totally agree, but you can fire him, get rid of him, bring in Lincoln Riley, and then what do you do when you face him? You're gonna have the same players.
Well, I think you have to hold these players accountable because I feel like this team.
But I think he does hold them accountable, but he doesn't do it publicly. But if you go sit in a team meeting, he's holding everybody accountable. He's putting everything on the line. He's putting it out there.
Well, listen, it sounds like you, as someone who played for him, likes him and like respects him as a coach.
I'm just calling it how it is. From playing for different coaches, I mean, I've seen that.
And I think that's super valuable. I think it's important that someone that's been there to say, actually, inside the team, he does hold us accountable. The point I'm making is, however he does it, the effectiveness has worn off. Sometimes you need a fresh start.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think his voice has become stoic. I think it has become stale. I think it's just like once they're going through these stretches, it's like they're so used to it. This happens to us every year. This happens to us every year, and you know everything we want is still ahead of us because our division stinks. We can still make the playoffs. Anything can happen when you get in the playoffs, but that's really not true. I think that you need to go into the playoffs with some type of momentum. Are you going to be at home? Right?
Exactly. It's the idea that, well, once you make the tournament, anything can happen. Technically is true, but practically is not. You can't be a team that loses to every good team you play to all year, and now you got to beat 4 of them in a row to do what Jerry said you want to do, which is win the Super Bowl.
Unless you're the Giants of 2007.
But the Giants, at least even in 07, they showed you something.
They beat somebody.
And that final week of the year, they showed you they could go toe-to-toe against New England in the final week of the year, the undefeated Pats. But one thing on Lincoln Riley before we move on to Philly. To me, that would be a massive mistake.
I think so. They'll just play, spread offense and absolutely no defense?
Because they need someone who, A, has NFL coaching experience, and B,
was there in Baylor.
I wouldn't do that either. Ron Rivera's getting fired.
Yeah.
I would bring him in. Ron Rivera has played in this league, is a true tough guy,
Mike McCarthy
has a track record of success, and could bring a different type of toughness to, and exactly right. That's what you need. To me, Lincoln Riley or Matt Rule or who it would be the shiny new toy.
Yeah.
It would be the coaching version of trading for Amari Cooper.
So is firing him a done deal, foregone conclusion?
I think the only way he stays is if they make the Super Bowl. Honestly,
I mean, the fact that he's a lame duck coach, they didn't give him the extension, let him know that he was coaching for his job. And if the results aren't there, ultimately he has to fall on the sword.
But the last time he was a lame duck coach, he won the East.
Yeah, but they
got knocked out in the divisional round. They're not going to win the East.
Well, they might win the East, but it's meaningless.
This is 10 years. 10 years of going anywhere.
But how is it meaningless? If they go 10-6, is that a meaningless?
Okay, if they go 10-6, maybe you feel a little differently. They ain't going no 10-6. That would mean running the table.
Who do they lose to?
Anybody they play. The
argument was they lose to all teams with winning records. There's not a team on their schedule.
No, they play the Rams now. The Rams now are above 500. 7-5 now, right?
Yeah, they're 7-5. They got the Rams. It's just going to be tough for him because I feel like the message is old. You know, we experienced this with Brian Billick, even though we had just won the Super Bowl a couple years before, went to the playoffs, had the best record. At some point, you have to make a change because it's just not clicking. It's not resonating. We know what Jason Garrett is. He's a good coach.
I totally get that, but I can't just sit up here with you guys and just take the Jason Garrett slander as if he's a horrible coach. He's been in
no, it's a lot of great coaches that are unemployed that were good coaches.
I think he's still.
I mean, Rex Ryan went to 2 AFC championships and he's unemployed.
And he'll get a job.
Then he went up to Buffalo and went to.
But that was less than 10 years.
Nothings.
But he had 10 years of this. He still finished 8-8 in Buffalo.
I think Rex Ryan kind of acquired a good team with the Jets.
That's fine. Listen, Jason Garrett's going to get an opportunity to prove you right. Because he's going to get to coach another football team. It just ain't going to be the Dallas Cowboys next year. He got 4 games and maybe 5 they make the playoffs.
I'm saying 10-6.
And that's it. 10-6.
10-6.
Okay.
10-6
we got to take a break.
First round.
Orlando, stick around. Coming up, are the Ravens now the best team in the NFL? Next up for 6:30.
10-6 means they beat Chicago, the Rams, Philly.
They hammer Chicago.